Side of the road, it's like powder right now. But the problem is going to be once it freezes, and we're already starting to see that on some of these other roads. This is Highway 157. You're looking now on one of those areas that people always talk about, these overpasses. Because the real story is not here on the streets there. It's about 3 or 4 stories up in the air. That's where crews with Gray's Roofing and Tree Service right now trying to repair the damage from that tree. You see how large it is here in Hampshire, Texas. There are water rescues that are happening now for a second day. Behind me here, this picture does tell the story where the road ends, and this truly is the end of the line if you are trying to head westwards in that area towards Houston. 45 inches of rain had come to certain parts here of this area, and that picture really tells the story. These are the people who Harvey has affected the most, who were in ankle-deep water. The roadways are wet, but there's not any ice that we can see on the roadways right now. As I told you a second ago, a different story an hour ago. Look at this. This was the sleet that was falling then on the hood of our news vehicle, and almost on cue, we started seeing AlDOT road trucks in our area beginning to treat those roadways along I-65. It's been nearly 4 years since Summer Wilford's burning car was found along these bushes. And while the case is now closed, the men and women who were there say they will take the memories of it with them for the rest of their lives. John Croft has always lived by himself in this Center Point house. Wednesday morning, he woke up to a frightening reality. He wasn't alone.
I wanted to live out my whole life without killing anybody because I believe in the 10 Commandments.
The 79-year-old man said he had no choice but to shoot when he woke up and saw 2 hooded men in his bedroom telling him to stay still.
He was going to make me tell if I had any more money in the house. But when he said don't move and you heard the bed creaking, I had my gun in my hand and I just shot.
Jefferson County Sheriff's deputies say the burglar was dead when they arrived. Croft had been keeping a .38 caliber pistol by his bed since his home was first burglarized last June. He says it's happened 13 times since then, always when Croft wasn't home.
I pray a lot. And for some strange reason, I had asked the Almighty, I said, let me catch him in the house, and I think that'll break him up. It just didn't quite turn out the way I had it planned, plan A, and so I had to go to plan B.
Croft tells me he thinks the burglars got in through this window right here. The retiree tells me with his next paycheck, he plans to put in burglary bars and other security measures, although after this morning, he hopes now he won't need them. In Center Point, Stephen Quinn, ABC 3340 News. Glen Iris principal Dr. Mike Wilson believes this National Day of Action should apply to people of all ages.
Situation is changing. There's some things that people are wanting to do that are not in favor of public education.
Wilson and the Teachers Union called on elementary school students and Glen Iris faculty and parents to join the political fight to support public schools.
People in Montgomery and Washington want to take away the resources that we have. What do?
Glen Iris Elementary, by most accounts, is one of the top performing schools in the city. Dr. Wilson believes that Mr. Trump could reduce the amount of funding the school receives, something he says is critical for its success, and is also why he believes the speakers at the school were necessary.
For sure, because it's the money that goes into their classroom. And when you have someone that can't answer the question about a growth model versus a proficiency model in testing, you know, what that's saying is you don't know what you're doing.
Other speakers at the event were even more critical of the incoming administration. One said the country is being run by, quote, fearmongers. ABC 3340 listened to the program and asked whether such a political event was appropriate for elementary-age children. Principal Wilson provided a quick response, but then refused to answer any more of our questions.
That was the gentleman from the NAACP. Yeah, that's his opinion. We look at both sides with the kids. I can't predict what somebody's going to say when they come in.
Democratic State Representative Rod Scott also spoke to the young students. So do you think that's acceptable to be talking to students at a public school during school time about?
Well, I leave that up to the school system and the administration of the school.
Scott then went on to defend the decision in part.
They're hearing things anyway. So the question is, how can we bring a greater level of peace to them to let them know that they will receive an education. It will be a quality education.
In Birmingham, Stephen Quinn, ABC 3340 News. As those rainwaters continue to rise, those efforts to try and find people continued. It was one that began before sunrise this morning. By the time people woke up Monday in Hampshire, Texas, it was too late.
3 a.m. it was getting pretty high, and I noticed all my neighbors leaving, so I called him to see if he could come home and get us.
Autumn Minton is among those without a home tonight. Her neighbors had to be rescued by boat as water submerged cars and covered the nearby interstate. Firefighters estimate 45 people in this community alone were rescued since dawn. Families and their pets unsure when they'll return.
We're going to try to find a new home.
We're going to probably move.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
And while crews poured into eastern Texas to help those trying to escape the flooding, here in Beaumont, Texas, there were crews working to make sure the 400 alligators stayed where they were supposed to, here in Gator Country. Gary Siraj spent 3 days finding dry land for his biggest alligators, nearly 300 of them, but time ran out.
We couldn't catch them all. There's just no way. And as you can see, we're about a foot now from some of them being able to go away.
Siraj plans to spend day and night monitoring the fence, keeping the gators at bay as the water inches closer to his own home.
It's devastating, man. What do you want me to say? I mean, me and my crew, my team have worked and done everything we could possibly do. This water's just not moving.
You saw that we were stopped on the roadway on the interstate because of an accident, so I'm actually out now checking out what's going on, and this is what we're dealing with. Well, easy now.
Man, you got a long walk.
Is it a long walk? How far up there is it?
Man, it's in the curve.
It's in the curve?
Yeah, man.
All right, well, we're gonna hoof it. This is Gator Country in Beaumont, where there are normally about 700 gators. They've been working to evacuate a lot of them in the days leading up to the landfall of Hurricane Harvey, now Tropical Storm Harvey. And this is what it looks like behind me here. This is the building itself. As of right now, however, the concern is there's about 400 of these alligators that are still in pens over here in this area.